Part 25. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 242. Back in the general department, Sister Yang had already gone back to the office to rest. Han Qian tiptoed into Yang Ian's office and told her that Yang Jia was fine. Yang Lan leaned on the table and hummed, and Han Qian exited the office obediently, and then pointing at the snacks on the table, he waved to his colleagues and whispered, "Come and get it. I can't finish it. It's rare for little Yang Jia to bleed. The big guy and Han Qian have long been rude and don't show up." Han Qian took the Chinese cigarettes, thought about it and opened them, and distributed them one by one to male colleagues who smoked in the office, and said with a smile, "Don't refuse Sister Yang's offer. It tastes good. Then, I'll skip class. Brothers and sisters, can you just pretend you didn't see it?" Everyone smiled and nodded. When he passed Lu Zhuolong, Han Qian gave him the remaining 3 boxes of cigarettes and chuckled softly. "I will learn from Deputy Lu how to be a man in the future. This is the tuition fee." Lu Zhuolong said softly without messing around with Han Qian. "Is little Yang Jia okay?" "It's okay. I bought 2 hamburgers and went back. I should be scolded by Mr. Yan now." Li Zhuolong sighed and said nothing. After Han Qian left the general department, he went straight to the public relations department. Now he didn't dare to open Gao Xingqian's store. "Is that so interesting? We haven't experienced it either." Xua Shuo from the public relations department was not here, so he was lucky. As soon as Han Qian walked into the public relations department, his sister Wan Fang said with a cold look, "Hey, who has shot Mr. Han's head open again?" As he spoke, Han Qian stood up and gave up his seat. Han Qian stepped forward and sat in Wan Fang's seat. Xian on the side covered her mouth and laughed. Wan, why are you teasing him? Then you have to give up your position. You're both good and fun-loving, right?" Wan Fang shrugged. At this time, Han Qian took out the Nokia antique and pointed it at Wan Fang and said seriously, "Don't move, I have to take pictures of these beautiful legs." Wan Fang was slightly startled when she looked at the antique in Han Qian's hand, then she struck a charming pose and said seductively, "Come on." Han Qian put away his phone and pouted. "Today is not the right time to go out to tell fortunes and catch goblins. I'll spare you this once." Wan laughed loudly. After the last time, she found that Han Qian was actually not that difficult to get in touch with and had a very down-to-earth personality. Han Qian looked at the cosmetics on the table and said softly, "I feel like my face is covered with a layer of glue recently. It's very uncomfortable. Is there anything you can do?" This can be regarded as asking an expert. Wan Fang turned around and took a bottle of glue from Suan's table and smiled at Han Qian. "Fight fire with fire. Get out." At this time, a young man handed Han Qian a bottle of water, which was all in English, and smiled at Han Qian. "Mr. Han, try this. Sprinkle a little into your hands and pat it on your face. It's moisturizing and may be more comfortable. You may not know how to use it. Let Sister Wan help you." Han Qian took the toner in his hand, turned his head and glanced at Wan Fang, and whispered, "Then she can't use me to practice iron sand palm." This sentence made Wan Fang unhappy. She stepped forward and took the toner from Han Qian's hand. She stood behind Han Qian and held Han Qian's head against her belly with her hands. Then she sprinkled a little water on her and gently applied it. "Slap it on Han Qian's face. The ice is cool and very comfortable." Han Qian closed his eyes and whispered softly, "Can any of you help call Vice President Gao over? Just say that I don't want to watch the live-action movie anymore. I'm sorry. I'll wait for him here." Wan Fang's hand tightened slightly and she complained, "How can you say that? Sister Yaya is not with Vice President Gao. Look, you know who it is even if I don't tell you." Shut up. Wan Fang stormed off, and Han Qian shut up obediently. Not long after, Gao Jishi came, and then this guy also imitated Han Qian and asked Qian to apply some water on him. These two guys regarded the public relations department as a place for beauty care. The main public relations department is too knowledgeable about cosmetics. Han Qian had a facial mask on his face, leaned his head against Wan Fang's body, and said softly, "Why did Director Lu come here suddenly? Don't tell me that you're out of luck." Gao Ziji was currently enjoying Suan's shaving service and said softly, "It's just a whim. Han Qian, let me tell you, I treat my brother-in-law as my own brother-in-law. No matter what he treats me as, don't make too much trouble." Han Qian curled his lips and said disdainfully, "You have something wrong with your brain, but I don't. I have a terrible headache now. I struggle between death and life every day. I don't think I hate the enemy enough. Let's study and get some first. Otherwise, this guy shouldn't be in a hurry and end it as soon as possible. It's time to worry. I don't have much time to deal with him, by the way. Is the guy named Lin playing with you? I don't want to play with him anymore. It's so stupid. Now I think spending money can make Guan Dago's heart beat. I'm very curious. Why does this guy want to be your enemy? Who gave him the courage? Fortune tellers can live to 90. Puff. Wan Fang couldn't hold back her laughter. Although she didn't understand what they were talking about, she couldn't hold back the fortune teller saying that she could live 90 years. Gao Xingcheng turned his head to look at Han Qian and chuckled softly. Exchanging a head bandage for a high-profile secretary. Mentioning Cai King Hu, Han Qian had a slight headache and frowned weakly. This old guy Cheng Jin is deliberately playing tricks on me. He might feel uncomfortable seeing me idle. Are you interested in the real estate business? It's what I asked for. Now Han Qian is trying his best to build a good relationship with Gao Jingcheng. He must let this guy taste the sweetness and make him think that his alliance with Han Qian is solid. No matter how hard it is, he must also make him think that Han Qian trusts him. What will happen in the end? Who can eat whom depends on their personal abilities. Then Han Qian fell asleep in the public relations department. When he woke up, it was already afternoon. When he raised his head, there was a relaxing breath from behind. Han Qian looked at the girl who was sitting and blowing her legs and wondered. You just keep standing like this. Wan Fang glared at Han Qian and said angrily. I thought you would wake up after sleeping for a while. Who knew you could sleep for so long, even if I apologized for my recklessness last time? Han Qian chuckled, stood up, stretched, and said lazily. If you encounter any trouble in the future, you can come to me for help once. I don't ask for money. If you have any trouble, you can come to me. It's only once, so cherish it. Wan Fang shrugged and curled her lips. You nobleman forgets things a lot, but my sister doesn't dare to worry about it. You're shameless. I'm only 25. I just looked at your profile. You're 29. Are you taking advantage of me? Call me Sister Wan Wan. Bye, brother has to get off work, see you tomorrow. Han Qian really had to leave. He had to report to Qianling in the evening, mainly because he wanted to buy food. Neither Qianling nor Qianwan were good at buying food. Well, I have to be educated by Qianling again tonight. He went downstairs and said hello to the security captain. Bye, buddy, it's time to get off work. Everyone on the first floor is so envious. People in this class can come whenever they want and leave whenever they want. Envious. I want to sleep, I want to sleep. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 243. We're going to eat at Qian's house, what should we buy? Han Qian was wandering around the vegetable market. Han Qian didn't like going to the supermarket to buy vegetables because he couldn't bargain. It wasn't that he cared about the few cents, but he mainly liked this feeling. What to cook? Han Qian wandered around the vegetable market twice but still had nothing in his hands. Standing in front of the pork stall, Han Qian fell in love with a piece of pork liver. He hadn't made this dish for a long time. "Brother, how do you sell this pork liver?" 13. It's not cheap yet. Han Qian was about to ask if it could be cheaper. He had to prepare all this. Before he could say anything, a beautiful figure appeared next to Han Qian. Cai Qinghu, wearing a white suit, appeared next to Han Qian and looked at his hand. The folder in the folder said indifferently, "Qian Ling's heart is not very good. It is a disease that causes the body to fall due to continuous stimulation. The cholesterol content in the liver is very high. It is not suitable to appear at Qian Ling's dinner table tonight." Han Qian looked at Cai Qinghu with an unhappy expression. The owner of the meat stall was a little dissatisfied, but he didn't have the courage to refute this woman. Cai Qinghu raised his head, pushed up his glasses, and said to Han Qian again, "In just one afternoon, everyone in the city who pays attention to you already knows that I am your life assistant, and the other two people who came with me are not suitable for being your assistants." Han Qian snorted and turned away, squatting in front of the corn stall. It seemed good to boil 2 cobs of corn. As soon as he picked 2 cobs, Cai Qinghu spoke again. "The starch content in corn is too high, which is also not suitable for Qian Ling." Han Qian sighed and stood up, with the white figure following behind and chattering away with the information she was investigating. "You can choose some light food. Qian Ling prefers kelp and deep-sea fish. Prawns are also acceptable. For vegetables, you can choose green beans, cabbage, cucumbers, tomatoes, fungi, etc. In addition, you can prepare a small amount of pig's trotters and pig's trotters. It is rich in collagen, but Qian Ling is not suitable for eating too much." Han Qian ignored the nagging woman and continued walking forward. Cai Qinghu followed behind him holding the document and continued. "For fruit, you can choose bananas. Qian Ling's body lacks potassium. Mangosteens and bananas can be used to supplement potassium. Han Qian has shrimps here." The nagging Han Qian couldn't help it anymore, turned around and looked at Cai Qinghu coldly and said coldly, "Can you cook?" Cai Qinghu shook his head honestly and said calmly, "I have a nanny at home, I don't need to learn to cook. If you don't know how to cook, just shut the hum up. I can buy whatever I want. I don't eat seafood, and if you ask me to buy it, I can't cook it either. I'm here to cook, not to see a doctor. Or you shut up now, or you get out. If you say a word, I will ask Cheng Jin to transfer you away. I can ask him for people, I can also ask him to get people away." "Okay, boss." The woman shut up, and Han Qian regarded her as nothing. Han Qian ignored this woman who was as tall as Wen. He chose the dishes to be prepared for the evening. He bought a fish after all. The boss was not here, it was a small the brother helped to look after the stall, and the two began to discuss the matter of killing the fish. The miser told the little brother that if he packed up the fish, he could give him 2 more yuan. What the young man meant was that he could make the decision for $2 cheaper and kill the fish himself. When the 2 grown men said the words "I don't dare" at the same time, Cai Qinghu looked at Han Qian in surprise. After arguing for a while, "Boss, you came back." Han Qian gave the money and ran away. Because he didn't dare to open it and told the fish boss that the fish must be killed. When Han Qian came to his senses, he found that Cai Qinghu had disappeared. Well, his mood suddenly became clear. When Han Qian wanted to take a taxi to Qian Ling's house, the blue Maserati stopped in front of him, and Han Qian held up his hand. The dish in the car squinted at the woman in the car and said scornfully, "Tisk, tisk, tisk, before you check me, you should check yourself first, right? Do you drive a Maserati? Mayor Cheng said that since you are afraid of trouble, I will pack it for you properly. What? Why don't you get in the car? What? The secretary doesn't know how to open the door for the boss. Do you really think I'm your secretary? Since you're not standing here preventing me from taking a taxi. Cai King Hu's mentality exploded. He opened the door and got out of the car, put the food in Han Qian's hand in the trunk, then opened the door for Han Qian and said softly, "Boss Han, please." Han Qian was not in a hurry to get in the car. He held his chin and looked at Cai King Hu seriously. "My face is a bit cold, but my butt is quite perky." At this moment, Cai King Hu wanted to send this guy to the middle of the road and hit him to death, but she resisted, straightened up, looked at Han Qian and smiled. "You want to use this method to drive me away?" There are indeed many secrets in Han Qian. Cheng Jin told me to pay more attention to you. Han Qian, do you know anything? Is Feng Lun, the mastermind of the Mid-Autumn Festival murder case, related to you? Contact me. Do you know what happened that made Cheng Jin dare not touch you? It's definitely not as simple as what he said. Ouch. Cheng Jin's mouth is quite strict. Han Qian stretched out his hand to close the passenger door, walked around the car and sat on the driver's seat. The next second he closed the door and locked it, squinting at Cai King Hu outside the window and smiling. "It seems you don't know anything yet. What did Cheng Jin he say to you? Why did you agree to him being my secretary?" Cai King Hu's expression changed when he pressed the door handle behind him. "Did this guy lock the door?" Cai King Hu looked at Han Qian and said coldly. "He told me that you are a lecherous man. The city now suspects that you know a lot of things and wants me to come and investigate you. It just so happens that you need someone from the government office to prove that you can really decide the land in Dongcheng matter." Han Qian shrugged and said disdainfully. "Honey trap. It's clumsy enough. You've already investigated Qianling, why don't you investigate the people around me? Or maybe you're not afraid that I'll show off my bestiality and you." Cai King Hu said indifferently. "I don't mind if I can find evidence of your crime. I can give it to you if you want it now. Then you go to Metropark and get a good apartment and wait for me. When we meet in the evening, I will tell you everything I found. As a bargaining chip, I want your body. Remember to buy a condom." After saying this, he started the car and drove away, leaving Cai King Hu in a state of chaos. This Han Qian is completely different from what he imagined. A man who doesn't even dare to kill a fish will fight with two gangsters at the scene of the crime. In front of more than a dozen guns, he knocked out another gangster, shot Feng Lun, and stabbed his leg with a screwdriver. Mistake. All information is wrong. When he reached out to touch his cell phone, he found that it was still in the car. Cai King Hu was so angry that he borrowed a phone from a passerby and called Cheng Jin. "Come and pick me up. I was tricked by this Han Qian." Cheng Jin hung up the phone and pouted at Niu Qiudong. "Tisk, tisk, tisk, our comrade Xiao Hu seems to be led away by Han Qian, why not let Xiao Hua go over and be his secretary?" Niu Qiudong squinted at Cheng Jin and said nothing. Not long after, Cai King Hu came back in high heels, walked into Cheng Jin's office and started roaring. "No, none of them. This Han Qian is definitely not who you say he is. Apart from being lustful, he can't live up to what you said. How dare such a coward dare to fight with the gangsters at the scene of the crime? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Now let me open the room and wait for him, he will tell everything he knows. You are ready to arrest people." Cheng Jin tilted his head and looked at Cai King Hu and said softly. What happened?" "He drove away and threw me on the road. How could such a person cooperate with the government office to solve the case? How could Feng Lun contact such a villain? Impossible. Absolutely impossible." I said it's a matter of renting a room, so let's forget it. Give me a room in Metro Park. I have to prove to you that this Han Qian is definitely not a good guy. He is either with Feng Lun or he is defrauding you without knowing anything. Cheng Jin stopped talking. He looked at Cai Qinghu suspiciously and sighed in his heart. How could a very smart girl be like this by Han Qian in just one day? After thinking for a while, Cheng Jin whispered. Comrade Xiaohuo, there is no need to open this room. Based on my understanding of Han Qian, he will not go there. Cai Qinghu recalled that Han Qian secretly touched her legs, and firmly believed that Han Qian would definitely go, and asked Cheng Jin to cooperate with her. Cheng Jin raised both heads in surrender. Hey! Poor child! This girl was photographed by the superiors to investigate Feng Lun's matter. Cheng Jin and Niu Qiudong unanimously decided not to tell the superiors what Han Qian knew and his contact with Feng Lun. If the province could find out, they would be relieved. If they can't find it, the two of them will have time to clean it up slowly. There is one thing that I will never tell Cai Qinghu. That is, Feng Lun has evidence of the crimes of many government officials. If the superiors find out, Cheng Jin and Niu Qiudong will have a very sad life, and their careers will most likely be terminated. A day that can be concealed is a day, an official who can be transferred is a person, an official who can be fired is a person, and a crime that can be found out and solved is a person. But it must not be left to the people above to solve it. A government office is like a family. Cheng Jin and Niu Qiudong are the parents. If the children in the family make mistakes, it is due to their negligence and lack of ability. It was very messy and involved a lot of people. It was also very clear that Han Qian didn't say anything and nothing happened. At this time, Han Qian was already whistling and cooking in the kitchen. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 244. No. Han Qian kept the yeomanmen busy. It was right to say that this little evil man was bottomless, but it was more right to say that he was impulsive and superficial. That is to say, he couldn't figure out his temper. Cheng Jin and Niu Qiudong were both worried. Han Qian was cooking in the kitchen. Qian Ling held a banana in her hand and whispered. I see you brought up the keys to a Martha car. Do you like this car? It's not a problem to have someone pick you up and drop you off all the time. If you like it, just buy one and auntie will order one for you. Han Qian, who was wearing an apron, said with a naive smile. It's too expensive. I won't buy it. The car was stolen from Cai Qinghu. Will the money come back soon? You should come here with Ching Ching and the others. You tell me what is going on with Cai Qing Lake and the land in Dongcheng. Qian Ling was curious about what happened to Han Qian in this short period of time. Han Qian turned around and smiled at Qian Ling, pointing at his head and laughing. The day before yesterday, right? It seems that I was careless when I went for a ride with Ching Ching the night before yesterday. I was blocked by two guys in a remote lane in the village in the city. My head was opened. The two gangsters were beaten badly by Ching Ching and me. Now in the city, didn't the Feng Lun incident just come up here? If I expose the fact that these two people want to kill me, even if Cheng Jin and Niu Qiudong reveal the smallpox, their abilities will be doubted, and they will even be investigated and suspended. Auntie, do you think what I said is right? Qian Ling stood up and walked to Han Qian. She raised her head and motioned for Han Qian to turn around. She looked at the bandage on the back of his head and frowned. Don't take risks next time. Did you deliberately bring these two gangsters in? You are right. You were a special survivor of the Mid-Autumn Festival massacre. You poked Feng Lun with a screwdriver, and now someone to kill you. Many people will think that Feng Lun came to seek revenge on you and lurked for more than 2 months to kill you. If this matter gets serious, Cheng Jin and Niu Qiudong, as well as your ex-wife's second uncle, will be investigated. Some of them will suspension is inevitable, so what? So I told Cheng Jin that I can pretend that the incident never happened, and that the wound on my head was caused by me, but the matter of land development in Dongcheng must be left to me. I will not be the master of money. By becoming the gatekeeper who enters this land, I should be able to make some profits from it, but I haven't calculated how much. Then you have to look at how big your pocket is. Han Qian, you have to remember that you can only spend the money you earn while you are alive. Life is the most important thing. Qian Ling patted Han Qian's right shoulder and said softly. Does it still hurt? Han Qian scratched his head and said with a smile. Hey, it doesn't hurt anymore if I don't use any force. Afterwards, I contacted Cheng Jin and we discussed how to make outsiders know that I am the gatekeeper of this land. I want to wait for these businessmen to come to me instead of me going to them. Then just when I asked for a secretary at the Yamen gate, I was worried that it was a woman, so I acted like I was lustful towards Cheng Jin. I didn't expect that he really wanted to play with me to death. Cai Qinghu from the whole province came over, and what happened next? We all know it. During the conversation, the door of the room was opened, and Qian Wan and Yan Qingqing came. At the same time, they also came with the sisters Yang Lan and Yang Jia. Yang Lan was very reserved, and little Yang Jia couldn't even speak. 5 women sitting on the sofa, Han Qian wore an apron and brought fruits. At this time, Yang Lan stood up and said to help in the kitchen. When Yang Lan entered the kitchen, Han Qian became his assistant. The 2 siblings worked together very well, and Han Qian was also learning to cook from Yang Lan. Too many skills don't weigh you down. Yang Lan looked at the braised fish in the pot and said softly. Han Qian, thank you. Han Qian laughed nonchalantly. Sister, you're beautiful again. I'll find a brother-in-law for me to use a microscope later, someone who's 18 or 19. Yang Lan reached out and grabbed Han Qian's ears, blushing and swearing. A poor child knows how to be poor. At the dinner table, the topic gradually turned to Cai Qinghu. Yan Qingqing looked at Han Qian with anger in her eyes. Qian Ling picked up the chopsticks and knocked on Yan Qingqing's forehead and whispered. Han Qian didn't do anything. You should focus on Nuan and Jijing first. After saying this, he gave Han Qian another chopstick and said in a deep voice. Messing with women. Han Qian covered his forehead and smiled at Yan Qingqing. You are a flower and can also weed. As a result, he was hit with chopsticks again, and Han Qian became completely honest, bowing his head and eating obediently. Except for De Qian'er, everyone else at the dinner table was quiet. She was completely spoiled by Qian Ling. Qian Ling put down her chopsticks after eating some food, looked at Han Qian who was devouring it, and smiled. Don't be too disgusted with Cai Qinghu. The same goes for Qingqing. Han Qian and Lu Shenga had a conflict today. With his petty temperament, he will definitely not admit that he has suffered a loss. I don't know what trouble will happen. With a Cai Qinghu, as Han Qian's secretary, Lu Shenga can be more honest. Even if she has intentions for Han Qian, at least Han Qian is safe. Han Qian nodded vigorously, Qian Ling said again after seeing this. Also, Xiao Qian, this Cai Qinghu came down from above. Now Cheng Jin is just pushing out a few scapegoats. You can't tell everything just because a girl is pretty. I'm thinking about one thing. If it's you Cai Qinghu told Cai Qinghu, and then the superiors found out, was Cheng Jin okay or not? I'm afraid that he has quickly eliminated many officials. If Cai Qinghu knows something in your hands, Cheng Jin will no longer be afraid. Once you tell the truth, it will be settled. At least now Cheng Jin doesn't know how much you have mastered, some things are better for you to know alone. Yeah. I understand, Auntie. Han Qian nodded again. Qianling and the other women wanted to chat in the evening. Han Qian, who had finished cooking, was worthless and was driven away by Qianling very forcefully. Han Qian knew that Qianling wanted to win over Yang Lan and the others. Now that he is back, he will never let Lushenga, a lunatic, make the decision alone. After going downstairs, Han Qian got in the car and drove to the Yamen gate to see him off. When he went upstairs, he found that Cheng Jin was still working in the office. Han Qian threw the gift to Cheng Jin and curled his lips. "Are you sure you won't change my secretary?" Cheng Jin replied stiffly without raising his head. "Do you think the emperor is choosing his concubine?" Han Qian shrugged and went downstairs. When he walked out of the Yamen gate, he turned off his 2 mobile phones and took a taxi home to sleep. He originally thought he would go home on October 1st holiday. This was good, just to recover from his injuries. After getting into a taxi, Han Qian got out of the car and bought a cone when passing McDonald's. Aunt Nuan was here, so he had better prepare it early. At home, Han Qian was busy working, Nuan was eating a cone and watching TV. At the Metropark Hotel, Cai Qinghu was so angry that his face was livid, and he held his mobile phone tightly with both hands, as if he wanted to crush it. This Han Qian tricked her again. He actually turned off his phone. Recalling Cheng Jin's words, he said forget about renting a house. The old fox must have known that Han Qian wouldn't come back, but he didn't tell her. Cai Qinghu gritted his teeth and looked at the notes on his phone. Han Qian. Don't let me catch you. While talking, Cai Qinghu threw away his mobile phone and took a warm baby and placed it on his lower abdomen. Those days of the month are so troublesome. AQ. Han Qian sneezed while sitting on the sofa, stood up, closed the window, and then stretched. Sleep. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 245. Now it's no longer surprising if Wen Nuan suddenly disappears from the room in the middle of the night or if Han Qian appears, and he won't be frightened either. Because I'm used to it, this is not something that only happens when I move to this house. It just didn't happen so frequently before. Now, at 1:57 in the middle of the night, Wen Nuan was holding a pillow in his hands, squatting beside Han Qian's bed, resting his chin on the edge of the bed, frowning at Han Qian, and whispered pitifully. Han Qian, my stomach hurts. Han Qian, who was already asleep, opened his eyes in a daze, turned over, reached out and touched his warm head, and said softly. The stomach or the lower abdomen? Nuan whispered. Lower belly. After hearing this, Han Qian took a deep breath and stood up. He patted the bed against Wen Nuan. Wen Nuan climbed onto the bed and lay down on the bed covered by Han Qian's warmth. Han Qian had already put on his pajamas and got out of bed. He went to the first floor to prepare for Wen Nuan. Hot water. It is said that those who drink hot water when their aunt is in pain are straight men. Transferring money and gifts are the best treatments. This is pure nonsense. Hot water is the best way to relieve pain. I was waiting for the water to boil in the kitchen. While I was waiting, I turned on my 2 mobile phones. Several unanswered text messages came in. Some of them were from the same number. They should be from the bitch Cai Qinghu, and Yan Qingqing had one. Then within a few seconds, I received a text message. It was sent by Jijing at about 9 o'clock, asking if Han Qian had slept. Han Qian sent a text message back to Jijing. While boiling water for Wen Nuan, her aunt is here. As soon as she put down her phone, Jijing's text message came back. Don't just drink hot water if you have ginger at home, make some ginger tea for her to drink. Vice President Wen has a heavy workload and a lot of pressure. Don't be too straight, I won't be able to send it to you at home. Looking at the text message, Han Qian smiled bitterly and shook his head, typing at a snail's pace. Before Han Qian could finish typing, Jijing's text message was sent again. I fell asleep just now when I heard the ringtone on my phone. I got up and sent you a text message. Please don't reply if you are slow in typing. After reading this text message, Han Qian dialed the phone without thinking. The call was connected instantly. Hearing Ji Jing's hello with a bit of joy, Han Qian couldn't help but laugh. Are you bullying me for my slow typing? Are you worried about sending me a text message after 9 o'clock? Ji Jing's soft voice came, very soft and soft. Mr. Qian invited me to have dinner at home in the evening, but I declined. I don't know if Qian Ling would be dissatisfied. If I went, I would definitely cook. Then King sighed. Han Qian curled his lips and replied after hearing this. Why do you care about her? If you want to go next time, go. If you don't want to go, don't go. As long as I'm here, Qian Ling can't say anything or do anything if she's dissatisfied. If you don't like the excitement, don't go. You always put other people's affairs first, you don't live for others. I see. Ji Jing's voice was very sweet, and Han Qian tilted his head, holding his cell phone between his legs and cutting ginger slices, and continued. Recently, you should be more serious about your work. You can work slowly but try not to make mistakes. Lu Shenga is mentally ill. The matter against Sister Yang today was not successful. Maybe they will attack you tomorrow. Mr. Yan can't protect you now. Please call me if you have any problems or troubles. The last thing I am afraid of in this life is trouble. I see. Han Qian talked on the phone for 5 or 6 minutes. Ji Jing listened quietly the whole time without refuting a word. Seeing that the time had passed 2 o'clock, Han Qian said again. Go to bed early. If I don't reply to text messages in the future, something will happen. Don't stay up late waiting for me. This time Ji Jing didn't say I know, she just said oh and hung up the phone. Carrying a cup of ginger tea, he returned to the second floor. Nuan was holding a pillow and scrolling through his phone. Han Qian sat on the edge of the bed, reached out, grabbed the phone and threw it aside. He handed the ginger tea to Nuan and said softly. I left it downstairs for a while. It should be no longer hot by now. You can drink it while you drink it. It won't hurt anymore after you drink it. When Nuan sat up and wrapped himself in the quilt and took the quilt. When he smelled the smell of ginger, when Nuan wrinkled his little nose and raised his head and asked pitifully. Brother Qian, I feel like I don't feel any pain anymore. Then just in case it hurts next time, I owe it to you to buy you some cone. Actually, I secretly ate 2 ice cream sticks before you went home. Han Qian tilted his head and looked at Wen Nuan helplessly. The latter lowered his head and sipped ginger tea. When Wen finished drinking the water, it was already 2:30. Han Qian was too lazy to deliver the cup. He lay on the tatami and closed his eyes to rest. Nuan turned sideways and looked at Han Qian, pulled the quilt nervously, and whispered. Han Qian, I want to wait for the matter of the land in Dongcheng. The news has spread today that the land in Dongcheng is to be developed. Only with your consent can you be qualified to develop buildings. Now Lin Zongheng also wants to get a piece of the pie. I don't want your efforts to make him a wedding dress. Let him think about it first. When he has completely lost all hope, you will take action. When the time comes, you can help me. I can stabilize my position in the company and also I can attract some neutral shareholders to support me. Just watch and do it. Then you can take Tu Xiao with you again. This old guy is more capable than you think. He has to go to work tomorrow, so go to sleep. Oh. The chat stopped here. Wen Nuan quickly fell asleep, but Han Qian couldn't sleep. Now the temptation around him is getting bigger and bigger for him. It's not money, not power, but women. At Han Qian's young age, he will definitely be curious about things between men and women, and he will also have strong impulses. He has been holding back. If he wants to try, Nuan will not refuse her, Yan Qingqing will not refuse, and Ji Jing will not refuse. But just like this, Han Qian found it difficult to complete this grand plan. Abandoning Yan Qingqing and taking responsibility for Wen Nuan. Han Qian felt guilty. Yan Qingqing was bold. Can Yan Qingqing choose to give up warmth? Han Qian couldn't bear the game either. When did I become a lovable carrot? That shouldn't be right. Nursery rhymes are beauties. Yang Lan is also a beauty. Wan Fang and Cai Qinghu are both top-notch beauties. Han Qian has no feelings for them. How did it become like this? My heart felt like a mess. Just let it happen. If things get to the point where you can't control them, don't think about resisting. Let nature take its course and the result may be better. Getting up early to go to work, Han Qian hasn't slept since he was woken up by the warmth, and he can't fall asleep. Han Qian went downstairs to smoke while waiting for Wen Nuan to pick up the car. As soon as he lit a cigarette out of the community, the white Maserati appeared in his sight. Today, Cai Qinghu was wearing a black OL uniform. Black stockings, glasses, ponytail. Luxury cars, documents, high heels. When Han Qian saw the woman turn around and leave, Nuan also drove out. He opened the car window and looked at Han Qian doubtfully and asked, "What's wrong? Did you forget something?" After hearing this, Han Qian trotted across the front of the car to get in and avoid Cai Qinghu. Just as he was about to open the passenger door, this woman came over and shouted to Han Qian in a sweet voice from a distance. "Master Han! You were left alone in the hotel last night." After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 246. When Nuan raised his hand and locked the car door, took off his sunglasses and looked at Han Qian with cold eyes, and said coldly, "Who is she?" The voice was not quiet, not to mention that Cai Qinghu had already walked to the car. She bowed slightly to Wen Nuan, squinted her eyes and smiled. "Hello Vice President Wen, my name is Cai Qinghu. I am Mr. Han's personal assistant. You can also call me Secretary Cai." Wen Nuan frowned and looked at Cai Qinghu up and down. This woman was very elegant, and she didn't look like an ordinary girl in her gestures. She could smell a bit of a yamen door in her words, but Wen was still very unhappy. She frowned and said coldly, "Life assistant." Cai Qinghu smiled. "As a daily life assistant, I handle everything from handling work to meeting clients. At the lowest level, I do laundry, cooking, and warming beds for sex." Boom. The Panamera hit the accelerator and sped away, throwing up smoke and dust. Cai Qinghu looked at Han Qian's frightened face and covered his stomach with giggles. Looking at the tail lights of the Panamera, there were only two words in Han Qian's mind. "It's over." Yan Qingqing is also good. Ji Jing, too. The fights between them are all through formal channels. This Cai Qinghu is a gangster and a wild man. If he doesn't want your heart, he will eat your people. Thinking of this, Han Qian turned his head and stared at Cai Qinghu coldly, walking towards the woman step by step. Looking at the man walking in, Cai Qinghu panicked. The man's eyes really frightened her, but Cai Qinghu was used to being flattered. Not allowing himself to retreat, he looked at Han Qian coldly and said angrily, "It was you who broke the appointment first." Han Qian didn't reply and walked towards the woman step by step. When the distance between their noses was less than 20 centimeters, Cai Qinghu got scared and turned around to run away. Unfortunately, it was too late. Han Qian put his arm around the woman's waist and held her tightly. The woman held him in her arms and said coldly, "If you dare to bite me, I'll wait until Cheng Jin fights you to the death." Cai Qinghu said in horror and confusion, "I bite." Before she finished speaking, the faint smell of tobacco entered Tan's mouth. Cai Qinghu stared at the man in front of her with wide eyes. She couldn't break free from the man's arm even though she tried hard. When she thought of biting the word, she immediately wanted to do it. When her teeth touched the uninvited guest, a voice in her mind reminded her not to do it. Why would Cheng Jin agree to give Han Qian the land in Dongcheng? Why does Han Qian want a secretary and Cheng Jin has to do her job? Gradually, my mind goes blank. At this moment, Han Qian let go of Cai King Hu, looked at the woman coldly, strode towards Maserati, and said coldly with his back to Cai King Hu, who was standing there in shame and anger. You want to be a life assistant? I'll make it happen for you. Come and drive. Don't say I'm leaving you here. A high decibel scream erupted outside the door of the community. Han Qian. Cai King Hu rushed towards Han Qian with the document in both hands and hit Han Qian on the head. Han Qian avoided the document and turned around to look at Cai King Hu and said playfully. That's what you said? When you go up to handle work and meet clients. Are you scared to do laundry, cook, warm the bed and have sex? Can't stand a kiss? Cai King Hu, let me tell you, don't mess with a virgin, because he may not do anything. Come on, did I break the appointment last night or did you cheat and prepare a 7-dimensional space in the rented car all year round? Cai King Hu gritted her teeth and drove the car, squinting at the man sitting in the passenger seat looking at his mobile phone. Several times she wanted to hit the telephone pole and die with the man. Cai King Hu slowly increased the speed of the car, and then Han Qian spoke. I guess I will have a lot of things to do today. I need to get some sleep first and drive more slowly. If I'm in a good mood, I might be able to tell you something. For example, the flow of firearms into the city is not the work of the scapegoat. He can't do it yet. Feng's Haida may have been involved. The speed of the car gradually slowed down. Listening to the man's even breathing, the car stopped on the side of the road. Cai King Hu took out an eyebrow trimmer from her bag and looked at Han Qian. She could hardly bear it anymore. At this time, Han Qian suddenly spoke. The barbarian was crippled by me when he was in full state, and the toad was beaten half to death by me. More than a dozen guns were pointed at me. I could give the gangster a deep death taste, and even the bullets didn't kill me. What do you think? Can a knife kill me? Cai King Hu gritted his teeth and looked at Han Qian, and said in a low voice. A deep death experience. For a wrestling technique, you can look at WWE. It may be useful in actual combat. Cai King Hu put away the eyebrow razor, gritted his teeth and spoke in a low voice. Does Manzi's death have anything to do with you? Han Qian opened his eyes and frowned. Use your brain? Your face is for others to see, and your brain is for your own use. If I didn't knock the barbarian unconscious, how could the toad have a chance to kill him? The barbarian is a rapist. If he doesn't die, Feng Lun will retreat. Kill him. In ancient times, someone who killed a corrupt official was called a hero, but someone who insulted the people would be despised by thousands of people. Why do you know so much? When a person is about to die, his words are also good. Toad told me something, Feng Lun said something to me. Don't you still know that I am the hostage taken away by Feng Lun? Why can't you be in cahoots with Feng Lun? Because I shot him and he shot me. Cai King Hu's breath stagnated, and his expression softened a bit before speaking. I want to see your gunshot wound. Han Qian closed his eyes and sighed, handed the 2 mobile phones in his pocket to Cai King Hu, and said while taking off his clothes. The Nokia phone is being monitored. I don't know how many people are monitoring it. Be careful when you answer the phone. Use the other phone as you like. Don't answer the other few calls, especially the old man's. If you want me to live, did you see it? Saw it? There was an oval scar on his right shoulder that looked like a firework exploding. It was very hideous. Without giving Cai King Hu a chance to look at the scar carefully, Han Qian put on his clothes, put down his seat, lay down, and closed his eyes before speaking. It doesn't hurt as much as I imagined. I feel more scared. I can feel the blood flowing out of my body along this small hole. It's very dangerous to stay with me. There are many people who want my life. I advise you to leave as soon as possible. It's better if you don't want to die. Cai King Hu took a deep breath and said calmly. No lunatic would take the initiative to provoke someone from a big government office. Han Qian sneered. Don't overestimate yourself, you. Maybe you can make Lu Shenga be more honest. Besides, I'm not a good person. I know. I'm going to sleep, get out of the car. Cai King Hu was about to be pissed off by this guy. How could there be such a ruthless and indifferent man? Is his heart made of stone? Blinded by warmth? Yan Qingqing is also blind? But Cai King Hu got out of the car anyway, squatting on the road and chewing a pancake fruit. She was very hungry. She ate the pancake fruit and looked at Han Qian's phone. There were many messy text messages. She saw Han Qian and Nuan's text messages, and then saw Han Qian and Nuan's text messages. Cai King Hu curled her lips and scorned Ji Jing's conversation. Ji Jing's number was among the information she investigated. She opened the phone book and found that there were only a few people in it. Warmth. Mom. Mom. Dad. Looking at a text message that said, "Little bastard, you are still alive," Cai King Hu had an idea. This must be the old man in Han Qian's mouth. He showed a little fox smile and dialed the number with Han Qian's mobile phone. In the past, I had to wait a long time before the call was answered. Cai King Hu waited for a long time, but the other person didn't say anything, so she couldn't help but speak. "Hello, I am Han Qian's girlfriend Cai King Hu. I can't find anyone else now. Do you know?" Cai King Hu thinks that this old man should be a warm father, and she just wants to play Han Qian to death. There was silence on the other side of the phone for a full minute, and a cold voice came over. The voice was very flat. "No need to look for him anymore. He won't survive next year. I will pay the deposit for the coffin in the afternoon." Cai King Hu was stunned for a moment, then pretended to be worried and said anxiously, "Uncle, don't get excited. I just can't find Han Qian. He will be fine." The old man replied indifferently. "Yeah, I know, I will clean up the house when he comes back during the Chinese New Year." "New Year? Go home? Cleaning the portal?" Cai King Hu was confused and asked tentatively. You are Han Qian's. I am his biological father." "Hello uncle, goodbye uncle." Cai King Hu quickly hung up the phone, raised her head and was about to take a deep breath when she saw a man in the car window looking at her with cold and angry eyes. There are only two words in Cai King Hu's mind now. It's over. It's April Fool's Day, huh? Number 1. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 247. Old man, please listen to my explanation. King Hu is just a colleague of mine, just joking. Yeah, I know, son. Have you gained weight? If you gain weight, the coffin will need to be reordered. Your mother means to bury you in the back hill, close to home. Old man, don't worry, it's really a joke. Are you kidding? Haha, the girl who called me daddy last time was named Yan, right? Nowadays girls like to have fun so much. Do they like to have fun with you? You continue to play around, continue to play, son. In fact, daddy is in love. Your mother, do you want to go to the city in the next few days? I have to go and apologize to Wen Shengjing. I didn't educate a good son. As he spoke, the phone was hung up, and Han Qian was so frightened that he burst into tears. Even though he usually doesn't show any concern for the old man's mischief, if this is such a nonsense, the old man will definitely skin him. Han Qian turned his head and stared at Cai Qinghu with tears in his eyes. His chest kept rising and falling. He raised his hand to wipe his eyes and shouted, "Go! Buy me pancakes and fruit." "No fruit." Cai Qinghu got out of the car obediently and went to buy it. What a mess! When he heard Han Qian's father speak, Cai Qinghu felt that this old man was not easy to deal with. He originally thought he was Wen Shi, but who would have thought he was his biological father? Is Han Qian so afraid of his father? After Cai Qinghu got off the bus, Han Qian hurriedly called his mother for help. This time, his mother no longer worried about the phone bill. She persuaded Han Qian earnestly. When Cai Qinghu came back, Han Qian was lighting up like a chicken eating rice. Head, Cai Qinghu looked at Han Qian's obedient appearance and was very curious. He inserted the straw into the soy milk and handed it to Han Qian, then took his cell phone to send a text message. Before he could send it, Han Qian took the phone away. Cai Qinghu was furious. Han Qian made a silent gesture and whispered, "Mom, I know, it's really a joke. If you don't believe me, I'll give her the phone now." After saying that, he handed the phone to Cai Qinghu. Cai Qinghu glared at Han Qian. He threw her on the road last night, tricked her into opening a hotel, flirted with her again in the morning, and now grabbed the phone. Cai Qinghu took the phone and said obediently, "Good morning, Mom." "Cai Qinghu, I will hum your grandma." "Mom," Han Qian scolded me, "Okay Mom, I will visit you during the Chinese New Year. You should pay attention to your health." Cai Qinghu hung up the phone. Qian's mother sat on the bed and looked at the phone in her hand. She couldn't help but smile. She raised her head and looked at the old man who was smoking a cigarette and sulking. She smiled helplessly. "Don't be angry. Didn't you see that there was a problem between Xiaonuan and Xiao Qian last time? Xiaonuan was not good to us too before, but now, something is not right with Li Jinhe and Wen Shu. In addition, Han Qian moved out, and the little girl named Cai just said that she was Han Qian's girlfriend and that she couldn't find anyone. What does this mean? It means that our son is single now. If she knowing that Han Qian is not single, he would never introduce himself like this, nor would he make such a joke with a married man. Hey! If I guess correctly, Xiaonuan and Xiao Qian should be divorced." The old man smoked a cigarette, lowered his head and said in a deep voice, "My mind is not as fast as yours, so I will do whatever you say. You don't have to do anything, I just recognize Xiaonuan as my daughter-in-law." The old man sighed and whispered, "Our son can be as smart as you want, as handsome as you want, and he hasn't inherited anything from my good-for-nothing father. I'm quite content." Qian's mother smiled at her man and said softly, "It's been a long time since I've had bean buns. It seems like they're not available this season. I'll go to the county town to buy it for you. Urban has a motorcycle. Be safe." After the old man left, Qian's mother called her daughter-in-law. Nuan, who was in a meeting, looked at the number on her phone, stood up and said calmly, "I will not participate in the Dongcheng development plan for the time being. Mr. Lin will make the decision." After saying that, Nuan turned around to answer the phone and shouted sweetly, "Mom!" Han Qian and Cai Qinghu had a real fight in the car. Cai Qinghu had disheveled hair and Han Qian's shirt buttons were unbuttoned. Han Qian grabbed Cai Qinghu's hair and roared angrily, "Tiger girls, do you know how strict my parents are to me? I will die." Cai Qinghu pulled Han Qian's ears and said angrily, "You took away the first kiss I had for more than 20 years. If you don't provoke me, how can I harm you? Let me go." The two of them let go at the same time. Cai King Hu grabbed his phone and was about to send a text message. Han Qian reached out to grab it again and said coldly. You tiger? Do you think Cheng Jin doesn't know about the gun? After you told the above and Cheng Jin found out, you still want to get help at the Yamen gate? Even if Cheng Jin wants to report something, he will ignore you, can you? Use your brain. I do. I'm too lazy to pay attention to you. I'm eating. If you dare to use my mobile phone to make calls, I'll deal with you now. Go back and find someone else. While he was talking, Han Qian's cell phone rang, and it was another unfamiliar number. Han Qian frowned and looked at the number. Cai King Hu also became quiet. Han Qian answered the phone and said softly. Hi, hello Han Qian. First he introduced himself, and then the hearty laughter came from the phone. It is indeed inappropriate to disturb young Master Han in the early morning, but I am worried about young Master Han's busy schedule, so I thought of asking young Master Han earlier if he would be free in the evening. Wei apologized to young Master Han for his negligence last time. In addition, tonight Shuncheng Mr. Lu will also come here. Will Mr. Han give me a favor? Han Qian frowned, then smiled. Director Wei has said so, how can Han not know what is good and what is wrong? I just don't know what time Director Wei has said. I really need to check the time. I may have to go to the Yamen gate after get off work today. Ha ha ha, what young Master Han said, whenever young Master Han has time, I will wait and see in time. Then let's go to 8 o'clock in the evening. How about Neptune Mansion? The dumplings are good. Okay. Now that Mr. Han has spoken, don't talk about dumplings. I will bring them to you too, sister-in-law. Dong Wei is really good at joking. I have to go to a meeting here. See you in the evening. See you tonight. Han Qian hung up the phone, his expression instantly turned gloomy, and then Cai King Hu spoke. Wei Tiancheng? Lu Guangming? The two of them are dating you. Han Qian nodded and said softly. As expected, it's because of Dongqing's affairs. Both of them are engaged in real estate. You should prepare to go to a banquet with me in the evening. I will also introduce you to some famous big shots in the city. After saying this, Han Qian picked up the phone again and spoke directly after a few seconds. Boss 2, can Brother Guan lend me your help tonight? I'm worried that a secretary at the entrance of a big government office won't be able to hold Wei Tiancheng and Lu Guangming down. Secretary, bodyguard. No one can be missing. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 248. He called Yang Lan and asked for a leave. Although it was a cooperation contract, he still worked in Yang Ian's department. Yang Lan was very dissatisfied and complained on the phone. After hanging up the phone, Han Qian also finished his meal. He pointed to the pancakes in front of him and said, "Go to the construction site." Cai King Hu was completely reduced to a secretary. She never imagined that she originally just wanted to come over to act with Han Qian, but this guy was not polite at all when he ordered her around. The car was speeding and Han Qian fell asleep again. In the office of the chairman of Huishan Group, Wei Tiancheng and Lu Guangming were sitting across from each other. The former had his legs crossed and was thoughtfully holding a mobile phone in his hand. The short and fat Lu Guangming had a kind smile on his face. This guy was in love with everyone he met. It's this smiling look. Despite his kind smile, he didn't have such a kind smile when he attacked some of his brothers who wanted to be the boss. By the way, he also took care of the wives and daughters of his brothers. Lu Guangming said with a smile. This Han Qian is quite interesting. I heard about his reputation before the party. A piece of land at the airport played a trick on the developers in the city. The business that everyone thought must be lost was suddenly revitalized by him. Look at the arrogant energy of Yan Qingqing and Tu Xiao. Wei Tiancheng smiled, shrugged, and said softly. Tu Xiao is going to follow my old path. He can hardly support himself with the meager property in his name. Without Han Jian, bitches like Yan Qingqing wouldn't even look at him. What age is this? It's just a show of loyalty. Lu Guangming stood up, stretched and yawned. I heard that Tu Xiao brought 2 guns to protect Han Jian. If this is really the case, Tu Xiao can still get a big piece of Dongqing's cake. I don't understand. Can't you tell by the Yamanmen how sweet this cake from Dongcheng is? The trouble between Han Jian and Feng Lun is that Han Jian has mastered the dark secret of the Yamanmen. Don't look at the few scapegoats Chang Jin sent out. They are all for the people to see. How dirty the Yamanman is now. He is worse than everyone knows it, but not the people at the Yaman gate. If the higher UPS know that half of the people in our Yaman gate have problems, Chang Jin will have to lose his skin even if he dies. Han Jian mainly wants to ask, he dares not give. After hearing this, Lu Guangming smiled and said softly. I heard that Han Jian is very lustful. Wei Tiancheng smiled and cursed with disdain on his lips. Do you have high-quality goods around you? Can they compare to that warmth and Yan Qingqing? Lu Guangming looked wretched and replied in a mean tone. A woman doesn't have to be as beautiful as a fairy, she just needs to be coquettish enough. As you said, Han Jian is a bit enviable. These 2 girls, Wen Nuan and Yan Qingqing, tisk, 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 Rosie, will die without regrets. After finishing his words, Wei Tiancheng quickly spoke to persuade. No, if you don't want to be played to death by Wen Shi, you'd better not have any ideas about Wen. This little girl called me not long ago and scolded me. I don't dare to have any temper at all, let alone touch her. Besides, the backer behind Yan Qingqing has come to the city, you. Just play with your sisters-in-law and siblings. Lu Guangming curled his lips and looked sideways out of the window. Lu Shenga, who was muttering about glory in his heart, suddenly came over to kill him. This guy's reputation was no secret in their circle. He was a completely crazy player. The second half of his life was spent playing. And he makes fun of others. Han Jian arrived at the construction site and saw the dust flying inside. Cai Qinghu hid in the car and didn't want to get out. However, Han Jian no longer knew where he was going. Cai Qinghu looked at his phone and was confused whether he should report the matter truthfully or not. Han Jian said that if Chang Jin was offended, his future work would be difficult. It's very annoying. Cai Qinghu smashed the steering wheel angrily and put his head on it helplessly. What should he do? Boom. Listening to the sound of the car window, Cai Qinghu slowly raised her head. At this moment, her hair was stuck to her face, and she looked helpless. Han Jian opened the door and put a red safety helmet on Cai Qinghu's head, smiling. Let's go, my secretary. Cai Qinghu's eyes slowly moved from Han Jian's face to the construction site in front of her. She suddenly shuddered and spoke in a tone that was difficult to negotiate. Can I not go? Han Jian stood at the car door and frowned. Got a misophobia. Cai Qinghu nodded vigorously, but Han Jian said, I have it too, and Cai Qinghu went crazy. Aloofness, identity, temper, coquettishness, weakness, all are useless in front of this man. How could he help an old woman scavenging? Cai Qinghu took a deep breath and followed Han Jian into the gate of the construction site wearing a safety helmet. The autumn wind blew by, causing his hair to blow. In terms of beauty, only Wen Nuan can compete with Cai Qinghu. The professional attire matched with black outlines her enchanting figure. She and Han Jian were one step behind her. Han Jian was worried that her high heels would sprain his feet, so he slowly slowed down and held her arm tightly with one hand. The two of them walked to the edge of the huge pit. Han Jian looked at the workers who were throwing steel bars into it. The 28 and 32 steel bars were lifted down one by one. Han Qian sighed softly. The gap between people is really huge. These workers are so busy working under the scorching sun that they even vomit blood from exhaustion. How much do you think they can earn in a day? Cai Qinghu stood behind Han Qian, opened the document in his hand, glanced at it, and said softly. The average price of domestic migrant workers is between 300 and 350, and the range will not be too large. Hearing this number, Han Qian laughed to himself. Look at that old man in the red school uniform. He's almost 60 years old, right? He only earns 150 yuan a day. He works from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. Ziahuo, don't always hold it in your hand from now on, the data are all lies. Cai Qinghu pushed up his glasses and said indifferently. I'm short-sighted and can't see clearly. This sentence was ignored by Han Qian and he spoke again. At the scene of the kidnapping case, there was a man from the Yamanmen. He was not a big official. I didn't remember which Yamanmen he was from. After Tu Xiao came to redeem me with 1 million, he offered to give Feng Lun 5 million, your Yamanman's salary is quite high. Cai Qinghu's face turned cold and he said in a low voice. You can't remember in your head which department he is from. Tell me and I will put him in jail today. Well, you're right. I remember his name, position, and appearance clearly. But I don't want to tell you, let alone cover up charges. Many people were involved in the Mid-Autumn Festival tragedy, and I'm not the only one who knows about it. And Luo Shanda is being used by me, so stay away from him. Han Qian, you are breaking the law knowingly. Tell me, which one did I violate? Don't blame me for your mistakes at the Yamen gate. I'm a law-abiding citizen. After saying this, Han Qian stood up and turned to look at Cai Qinghu, who looked unhappy. It happened that the project manager came over with a group of people. Yan Qingqing, Ji Zheng, Gao Xing, Sun Yat, Lu Shenga. La la la, la la la, recommended vote. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 249. Isn't it that enemies don't get together? To be honest, there is no conflict between Han Qian and Lu Shenga, it's just because of Yang Ian's matter, but Han Qian just didn't like this guy without a beard. The way he thought he was above everything else was very uncomfortable, as if he controlled the fate of others. Seeing them, Han Qian shrugged at Cai Qinghu and said softly. I'll give you a day off today. Come with me to meet Wei Tiancheng tonight. You mainly have to rely on your identity as an old man to protect me. Cai Qinghu looked at Han Qian in astonishment, pointed at his face, and asked in disbelief. Old man? Me? Old man? You can go by yourself at night, I won't go. No, Cai Qinghu, we have something to discuss. Cai Qinghu turned around and was about to leave. Han Qian grabbed the woman's ponytail in an ungentlemanly manner. Cai Qinghu was so angry that he turned around and raised his leg to kick Han Qian's calf hard. Han Qian was killed on the spot. He was kicked lame, bent over and covering his legs, and then the folder hit him hard on the back. I pull you once, you hit me twice? This is a loss we cannot afford. Han Qian straightened up and shouted loudly to Cai Qinghu. Cai Qinghu, are you going tonight? Don't go. Holy shit. Everyone was watching Han Qian and Cai Qinghu arguing. Yan Qingqing covered her face and didn't want to look at this embarrassing guy, and asked Ji Jing weakly. Why is he here? Ji Jing's unintentional words made Ji Jing a little nervous. She stammered and whispered that she didn't know why her eldest nephew was here. They had no contact last night. Yan Qingqing felt something was wrong after saying this and slowly turned her head. He squinted at Ji Jing and whispered. Did you meet Han Qian last night? No, I called. What did you say? Ji Jing turned into an old monk in seconds without saying a word. Pretending not to hear anything, Yan Qingqing became anxious. At this time, Gao Xincheng spoke to the two people who were tugging in the distance. Master Han, Secretary Cai. Gao Jingxing's shout made the two brains stop what they were doing. Han Qian remembered these guys at this moment and stretched out his arms to hug Cai Qinghu's shoulders, as if hugging a buddy. Cai Qinghu recalled being raped by this guy in the morning. Out of fear of domination, he raised his foot and stepped hard on Han Qian's shoes. Han Qian gritted his teeth, smiled at Gao Xing'ai, and said harshly, "Have you calmed down? If you've calmed down, come with me tonight. Now you know how powerful I am. You can go and apologize to me. I'm sorry, my aunt, when you say the sky is the sky, when you say the earth is the earth." Cai Qinghu was stunned again. Where was this guy's face? What about dignity? Isn't this a typical scoundrel? Cai Qinghu stretched out his hand and pulled Han Qian's face hard. He didn't have a mask, right? After feeling the pain, Han Qian slapped Cai Qinghu's claws off. Gao Xincheng waved to Han Qian and smiled. Why is Mr. Han so interested in coming to this dusty construction site today? Han Qian let go of Cai Qinghu's shoulders and smiled. Xiaohu has just become my secretary and doesn't know me well. I want to bring her over to have a look. I made the plan here. I am also worried that something unexpected will happen. If it is different from the drawings, it will be troublesome. While talking, Han Qian had been looking at Lu Shenga. The grandson seemed not to have seen Han Qian. He was surrounded by people from the project department. Han Qian was not in the mood to talk to him. Ever since he knew that he was a cooperative contract afterwards, Han Qian felt that he was becoming tougher in speaking. But when looking at Yan Qingqing, Han Qian was still timid. After all, his small treasury was in the hands of others. At this time, Lu Shenga asked Gao Jingcheng and Sun Ya to follow him to the front to take a look, while Yan Qingqing was left here. In the temporary simple room of the project department, the three women were sitting on their own chairs to rest without talking to anyone. Han Qian came back with a plastic bag, bought a few bottles of water and put them on the table. Baiquishan mineral water was handed over to him. Gave it to Jijing, gave Coke to Yan Qingqing, and looked at the remaining bottle of mineral water and a bottle of green tea. Han Qian was torn. He wanted to drink, but Cai Qinghu was a girl after all, so he could only give her the green tea reluctantly. As a result, Cai Qinghu exploded and pointed at Han Qian and asked what he meant. Han Qian looked at it with a confused look. Looking at Cai Qinghu, he said doubtfully, "What do you mean? 3 yuan for green tea and 1 yuan for this bottle of mineral water. Didn't I apologize for the expensive drink? I'm afraid you won't follow me tonight." Yan Qingqing and Jijing both raised their heads. Han Qian felt something was wrong for a moment and quickly explained. "There's a dinner party tonight, and she has to come along." Cai Qinghu's special status made Yan Qingqing unable to find a place to insert the needle, so she gave up with a cold snort. Jijing on the side handed the unopened water to Cai Qinghu, looking at Han Qian and scolded. "My eldest nephew, can you go online more and read more books? How can I buy green tea for the little girl? What happened to the green tea?" Han Qian's face was full of confusion, then he pointed at Yan Qingqing and said, "Like her?" The first thing he said when he saw Wen Nuan was, "How old is your sister this year? How many books have you read and how many medicines have you taken?" Following Yan Qingqing's tone, Yan Qingqing was so angry that she picked up the Coke and threw it at Han Qian. Han Qian caught the Coke with quick eyes and hands, and shook it slightly when he put it on the table. Jijing together they took a sip of the $1 bottle of mineral water. Cai Qinghu looked Jijing up and down without any concealment and said softly, "Han Qian, judging from the data in my information, Miss Ji is the most suitable girlfriend. You can consider it?" After the words fell, Jijing blushed and explained quickly, her voice as low as a mosquito. Han Qian frowned and complained to Cai Qinghu for talking nonsense. Yan Qingqing took the coke on the table, looked at Cai Qinghu and said softly. Nuan called me in the morning and scolded me, saying that it was me, the leader, who didn't take good care of my subordinates, which made you two go to the hotel to book a room last night. The words were sharp. Cai Qinghu couldn't remember how long it had been since anyone had spoken to her in such a questioning tone. She frowned, then covered her mouth and smiled sweetly. The life assistant is not just to take care of the boss's life. As long as the boss has needs, how can he refuse? The size is suitable. It can handle work at the top end. Cai Cheng Lake. Amid Han Qian's angry shout, Cai Qinghu did not finish what he said. Yan Qingqing was not warm, so she did not bother to fight in a cold war. She must avenge herself on the spot, so she dared to test Han Qian's body on the spot. Yan Qingqing was very dissatisfied when she didn't hear the end of the sentence. She stood up and handed the coke to Han Qian and said softly, "Stop talking." As he spoke, he pinched the soft flesh around Han Qian's waist and said angrily in a low voice, "Unscrew it for me." Han Qian took the coke without thinking, and opened it directly. The next second, the coke burst out of the bottle and sprayed on Yan Qingqing's chest. Han Qian was stunned, and then reached out to wipe it, wiping the atmosphere. Something was wrong. Yan Qingqing didn't dodge, she narrowed her eyes and smiled when she heard the plump chest. "Is it soft?" Han Qian retracted his hand in embarrassment and forced a smile. "It's quite soft." "How about compared with Cai Qinghu?" Han Qian was stunned for a moment, then turned to look at Cai Qinghu and smiled. "Come on, Secretary Cai, let me touch you." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 250. Ill. Recalling what happened in the morning, the more Cai Qinghu looked at Han Qian, the more annoyed he became. Now that Yan Qingqing was here to disrupt the situation, he couldn't find anything out if he stayed here. Cai Qinghu left the construction site angrily. Yan Qingqing stood in front of the window and tiptoed, looking at the woman's back, curling her lips and saying with disdain, "Why are women so tall?" After saying this, he turned around and gave Han Qian a wink, and said softly, "Why did you get angry at her? Lushenga wanted to catch you but couldn't get the chance to deal with you. Although she couldn't let you beat Lushenga here, she still made Lushenga afraid to act rashly." Han Qian shrugged and sat next to Jijing. Jijing quickly opened the green tea and handed it to Han Qian. Yan Qingqing frowned and curled her lips. "Why don't you just feed him something to drink? It's not like you don't have long hands, Jijing." Jijing glanced at her best friend angrily and whispered, "Isn't there a coke on his hand? It must be sticky and uncomfortable. Han Qian, do you want to wash your hands?" Hearing this, Yan Qingqing slapped her on the forehead. Han Qian would definitely be spoiled by Jijing and Yang Lan. His breasts were still wet, so why didn't she worry about them being sticky? 1 UN of mineral water was used to wash hands, and Han Qian drank up the remaining half bottle to avoid waste. Jijing's face flushed red, and Han Qian didn't think much before he answered the question just now. "She talked nonsense with me last night and said she wanted to make a deal with me. The eldest sister came and the aunt asked me to check in a room. I agreed and left her alone in the hotel. She ran over to seek revenge on me early in the morning. When Nuan and I just happened to come out. She was talking nonsense there, so I cleaned her up and she didn't dare to make too much noise. After all, she was from the Yamen Gate. Wei Tiancheng and Lu Guangming made an appointment with me in the evening. It should be about Dongqing's affairs. I want her to go with me. Why go with her? I'll go with you. Yan Qingqing's words were somewhat disgusting. Han Qian looked at the idiot and covered his head and replied helplessly. What are you going to do? Tell Wei Tiancheng in a big way that all the good seats in the East City are given to you, and you choose the rest and give them to him. Do you want to show off or give charity? Also, Aunt Ji, where do you live now? Otherwise just find another place, I'm always worried about you. Han Qian, who was belatedly thinking about it, was afraid now. What if Jijing was in danger and sent him a text message last night? He only saw it later. Thinking of this, Han Qian quickly took out his mobile phone and told Jijing to call this small number if he had something to do. The newly bought crap always ran out of battery. Jijing nodded obediently and whispered. I live there on the island now. Over there? It's too remote. She should have told you that Qing and I were in danger, right? Find a livelier place. If not, move to my house, live. There was only one word left, go. Han Qian was stunned and didn't dare to say it. Jijing's eyes were a bit fiery, and Yan Qingqing's eyes had already started to spit fire. Han Qian covered his head and sighed helplessly. You have this problem of not being able to sleep with others. Most people can't do anything about it. If you ask me, you can move in with Tanjeo. My house is fine too. I'm afraid that my parents will suddenly come over and kill you. Your best friend, my Mr. Yan. When I call my old man, I call my father daddy. This Cai Qinghe calls my mother mommy when I call me. If there is one more of you, my father will really prepare a coffin for me. The house rented by Nursery Rhyme is you. Been there, right? How was it? Jijing didn't feel any disappointment in her heart, nor did she think what Han Qian said was inappropriate. Instead, she thought what he said made sense and tilted her head and smiled at Han Qian. Teacher Tong's house is very clean. It's the only house I've seen that I thought was very clean. I'll tell you in a few days. The house over there has expired. I've looked around and can't find a suitable one. Go live with Teacher Tong. Didn't Qing say he was just a robber? I'm poor. Han Qian shrugged. If you were poor, I wouldn't have to live anymore. Qing, you still have to get me some money. I'll go and renew the rent. If nothing happens, I'll be living in the Imperial City Garden in a short time. Yan Qing curled her lips and sneered. Hey, are you finished? I finally thought about you having a Qing. You have enough money to buy a house. I don't have a house either. How about we buy one? The real estate certificate will have our names written on it. Ha, I will invite Nuan to be my guest when the time comes. Han Qian covered his head and sighed helplessly. Hey, don't you two have enough fun? Dongcheng Land Warmth also took a piece. I didn't ask for money, and I didn't ask for money for the land I gave you. I just hope you two will stop making trouble, okay? Hey, the miser has changed his character? No more money? That's not okay. I won't give you too much money for this land. It's not good for you as a gatekeeper to take too much, 100,000. It's a benefit fee in the name of the company, I don't dare to take too much for you. Now you have Cai Qinghe by your side? Her investigative ability scares me. Cheng Jin is also troublesome if you take too much. I will transfer the money directly to the card of my future parents-in-law. With the sound of the urn, Han Qian's head was about to explode. Why is this the in-laws? If nothing else, Nuan would suggest wiping the account. A flash of inspiration flashed in Han Qian's mind. What do the two grandsons Wei Tiancheng and Lu Guangming want to do? Would you say that you were giving him money in a brazen manner? Why? Something is wrong. The inner one. Qing, since it is a community developed by our company, you can just leave a house for Han Qian when the time comes. Why buy it? If it is in the name of the company, it also belongs to you. Han Qian turned his head and looked at Ji Jing. Why did this ant start to be a dog-headed military counselor? This proposal made Yan Qingqing very satisfied. Then the two women began to discuss what style to decorate. Han Qian couldn't stand listening anymore, so he stood up and made a gesture of surrender to the two eldest sisters. Okay, you guys talk, I'll go back to the company. Yan Qingqing. I want my salary. I know. I'll just send it to you next month. Okay. You can get out and don't disturb my fun. It was like being kicked away by the waiter. Han Qian stood at the door angrily and said angrily. I didn't drive. You drive quietly, Scrooge, can you buy a car? Not buying. Han Qian took the car keys and left. When he walked out the door, he saw 3 cars at the door. Raptor, Paradigm, BMW. Standing next to the Raptor and looking through the car window, I saw that the passenger and back seats were piled with Yan Qingqing's clothes and bags. No wonder Ji Jing drove here. What are they doing here? Forgot to ask. Sitting on the BMW, Han Qian smiled. Compared with Panamera and Maserati, Ji Jing's BMW is more comfortable to sit in, mainly because Han Qian likes Ji Jing's car perfume. Start the car. Return to the company. At the main entrance of honor, inside the BMW, Han Qian put down his chair and lay on the passenger seat, sleeping soundly. Chapter numbers are very auspicious, so too updates. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 251. Han Qian? Han Qian. Han Qian. 3 consecutive shouts of different tones made Han Qian drowsily open his eyes. He looked at the woman outside the car knocking on the window with a confused expression. He sat up, rubbed his eyes, opened the car door, and said lazily. What's wrong, Sister Yang? What are you doing here? Sleep. This answer made Yang Ian's face turn green with anger. She raised her hands and pressed them on Han Qian's face, reproaching him with a bit of doting. Knowing that you were sleeping, I went downstairs to deliver the documents and thought I was back quietly, but I saw you sleeping in the car. Although you are in a cooperation contract, it also clearly stated that you have to go to work. Can you not do it? You are causing trouble for Mr. Yan at this time. Oh. Han Qian didn't wake up, and his head was a mess. Yang Lan didn't bother to talk about him anymore. He grabbed Han Qian's arm and dragged him to the cafeteria. After finding a few guys eating, he pressed Han Qian on the chair. Han Qian squinted at Wan Fang, who was sitting here in surprise, and said softly. Wan, go and get me some cold noodles. Wan Fang pouted. Why do I love you so much? Go alone. Forget it, I won't eat, I have no appetite, Sister Yang. Is the cot still in the general department? Han Qian was really sleepy, and he felt like he had never had a good night's sleep. Yang Lan stood behind Han Qian, rubbing his brother's temples, and said softly. I'll go back and play games with Wan later, and I'll be in good spirits. Just now, Mr. Yan called to talk to Director Liu. Director Li has heard all about the general department and is not very satisfied with it. Director Qian also told me last night. A lot of it means asking the general department to prepare a plan or something to stop the board of directors. You try to be more honest. It's Lu Shenga again. Has this grandson come to the company to cause trouble? Han Qian nodded feebly, and Yang Lan turned and left. After a while, he came back with a bowl of cold noodles and a bottle of Red Bull. Everyone on the table was extremely envious, or in other words, everyone in the canteen was envious. Very envious. How dare you ask Sister Yang Lan from the general department to prepare lunch for you in person? Especially Lu Zhuolong, he also pretended to be very tired and decadent. Lan Lan, me too. Then you can take the afternoon off. Puff. Yang Ian's uprightness made Han Qian couldn't help laughing, and he became energetic instantly. He picked up the bowl and took a sip of the cold noodle soup, exclaiming that it was delicious. Lu Zhuolong looked frustrated, and everyone burst into laughter. Yang Lan faced Han Qian. Qian slapped him on the back and left the cafeteria. Yang Lan rarely eats lunch. Although she doesn't have any thoughts about falling in love, she still has to maintain her figure. After Yang Lan left, Han Qian suddenly asked a question in a low voice. Hey? Do you think anyone is pursuing Sister Yang? Besides Deputy Lu. Daqian and Shan Shan were shaking their heads. Lu Zhuolong was unwilling to talk about it, but they were also curious. After a minute or so of silence, Wan Fang spoke. Hey. It seems that you still don't know Minister Yang well enough. Mr. Han, don't ask if anyone is pursuing Minister Yang. You should ask how many people are pursuing Minister Yang. Sister Yang has the most suitors in the entire company. Let's put it this way. We have a lot of beauties in our public relations department, right? The sum of all the girl suitors cannot compare to Minister Yang, do you understand? Everyone seemed to have discovered an amazing secret. Han Qian widened his eyes and exclaimed. So many? Sister Yang didn't like any of them. Are they all bad? Wan Fang suddenly blushed, spat at Han Qian softly, then tilted her head and said in thought. Well, I came to the company relatively early. At that time, Minister Yang was not a minister yet. The company pursued Minister Yang's supervisor from top to bottom, and the ministerial level was only passed by a few fingers. The two ministers even fought with each other, but now after being transferred, the company's customers also expressed their love for Minister Yang. The most representative one is one of our long-term partners who tried to cooperate with our company just to pursue Sister Yang. The other party seems to be in his company. There are also shares, Diamond Single Wang Lao. He is very handsome. How many years older than Sister Yang? What's the result? Everyone was very curious and asked in unison. Wan Fang shrugged and said softly. It is said that Sister Yang said that she did not want to find a stepfather for Bai Bei, and the matter ended like this. After this Wang Lao, there was a little turtle, a rich second generation, who sent flowers 3 times a day in the morning, noon, and evening, every time it was 99. I gave it to 999 on Valentine's Day. Our Minister Yang said in public that he had a child. The rich second generation was very disappointed at the time. The next morning he came with his household registration book and real estate certificate. He only had one condition: Xiao Baibei would take his surname and be more affectionate to him than he would be his own daughter, but nothing happened. Everyone looked at each other. Sister Yang's charm. 4 words appeared in the minds of the last few people. As it should be. At this time, little Yang Jia sighed and said softly. My sister also liked that little brother very much at the time. The two tried to date each other, and the closest contact they had was just holding hands. But later the other person's parents did not agree. My sister was free and easy, blocked all contact information, and took Xiao Bei with her. Bei went to live in the company dormitory for 2 months, but he didn't show up. Later, I met him once. That time, my sister asked me to pick up Xiao Baibei after school. I slept past the time and didn't go. Later, when it got dark, I went thinking about it. My sister and I went to pick up Xiao Baibei like crazy, and then we saw this little brother squatting outside the kindergarten door holding an umbrella for Xiao Baibei. At this point, Xiao Yangjia sighed, rubbed his eyes and grinned. The kindergarten didn't let him take away Xiao Baibei. He was also afraid that Xiao Baibei would cry and that the child would have a shadow on his heart, So he squatted outside and waited, giving an umbrella to this little oil bottle, waiting for my sister to go. While holding Xiao Baibai to comfort me, he didn't say a word. He just looked at my sister quietly. He didn't ask anything about disappearing or complaining. He didn't say a word, he just said Xiao Bei. Bei is hungry and wants to eat hamburgers. After finishing his words, Han Qian continued. I know this. Xiao Baibai likes family bucket the most. Xiao Yangjia nodded, with tears in her eyes when she smiled this time. At that time, Xiao Baibai and I were sitting in KFC, and my sister and him were outside the window. I remember that he knelt in front of my sister and slapped his face one after another. He only said the word sorry in his mouth. Standing there crying, he knelt down and cried, and he never showed up again afterward. Several people sighed. Maybe Yang Lan really likes this person, and he has made it worthwhile for Yang Lan to like him. An unmarried boy comes to Yang Lan with his household registration book and real estate certificate without telling you. How much courage does it take to accompany Bei in the rain? Waiting for Yang Lan, how much patience does this require? How old would he be if he didn't blame Yang Lan for disappearing and put all the fault on his own shoulders? Even if Sister Yang didn't say it, Han Qian still had a feeling in his heart. How many years apart could he be? Perhaps Yang Lan closed her relationship with this young man for a certain reason. She was unwilling to let tragedy happen a second time, let alone let too many men appear in Xiao Baibai's world. This was a mother's responsibility. Han Qian sighed, lowered his head and ate the noodles, mumbling while eating. You tell Sister Yang later that you don't have to worry about the planning of the General Department. I have already prepared it and will hand it over to Deputy Lu tomorrow morning. Then you can just say that it is the joint efforts of the General Department. I have nothing to do about Sister Yang's emotional affairs. Intervene, but I think I'm really good at this job, huh? By the way, little Yang Jia, does Mr. Yan have any suitors? When Mr. Yan was mentioned, everyone's eyes lit up. Little Yang Jia's eyes twitched slightly and she said awkwardly. There used to be a few of them, but I always saw Yan carrying a baseball bat to appointments, and then he never showed up again. Everyone took a breath of air, and Sul Yang, who had never spoken before, spoke. Qian'er, wish for more blessings. Go away, the affairs of the General Department belong to the General Department. Keep doing what you are doing. If you are too busy, just ask Shan Shan to come over and help. Well, 10 million. Before Han Qian could say anything else, Wan Fang stood up and left, saying angrily. Don't call me. It's no good. Give me a massage. In the General Department, Yang Lan opened her phone and looked at a text message inside. Lan, I'm getting married. Putting down the phone, Yang Lan lowered his head. Perhaps the ones without results are the ones that people miss the most. It's really not going to happen today. I will let the drama of struggle pass quickly. Daily life is the theme.